We are talking banking and FMCG. The big question is, in the modern world, where we all say that we have access to speak now, and there is a bond bread issue, and there is the tomato issue. To what degree, as a consumer, can you really advise that we should be open? Because we are always asking people to vote, to vote. To what degree can we really go?
What's to your point? They as the
Can the consumer outrightly speak his mind?
No, but naturally, all right, you should be able to speak your mind. After all, there is a freedom of expression, but the freedom of expression has its limitations. And we can recall the recent, or not too long ago, the recent
Bond bread.
Bond bread. Yeah. There was also this tomato. Erisco, yeah. So somebody just expressed an opinion. She has issue with, she thought that this had more sugar than the others, and of course they took her up. The manufacturer took her up, took her to court, became a very big issue and all of that. I don't know whether they have resolved that issue.
Well, nobody knows, but that brings us to that question as an expert. What would you advise the brand owners to do in instances like?
So way back, I think it was around 2010 or so. I had a privilege of working on a brand into the FMCG. Yeah. So there was a consumer. Then the internet penetration has not gotten this deep, So I think it was on Facebook at the time. Somebody, kind of said some bad things about the brand. And whether enemies or friends or anybody, they will just join voices. I'm tired, escalating, So once we got wind of this, that this was going on, instead of us, go and call, inviting the police, we just reach out to the guy in particular, just to the person that is, that started the conversation. Most of the time, people need to be educated. People need to be educated. So instead of escalating, calling, inviting police, I mean, it will do more harm to the brand, especially on the internet. You cannot win because it's like David and Goliath thing.
This free counseling you are giving them, that they cannot win.
You can't win because the consumer would think, like a David versus Goliath. They would think that you are taking advantage of this person. You understand? So why don't you just reach out to, any aggrieved person, anybody who has laid complaint, reach out to them directly. One, maybe they didn't get the correct education. I mean, some people say for this Erisco story, somebody said, you know what? They could have even created an activation around it and make her the face. You understand? For that period, I mean, she would now turn an ambassador instead of an anniversary. So this thing can work, but how you manage it is important. And I'll tell you what, because of that, I'm like 2010, I reached out to this person, engage, and the thing died naturally, natural death. You understand? He even pull it down. He deleted it on his own. He deleted that conversation altogether. You understand? Because again, sometimes people are not, they need to be educated. Sometimes people act out of frustration. You understand? People sometimes, it's good to express yourself, but you have to actually be, I'm also a student of diplomacy. So it's always good to say, I can tell you are crazy without telling you are crazy. You understand? You understand? So the consumers know that, fine, while you are saying your truth, because it is your truth, while you are saying your truth, your view, your opinion, you understand? Make sure that you don't demarket this brand in the process.
The word demarket needs some qualification.
Yeah.
And at what point do you classify my statement, the consumer statement, as demarket? Because the man has just expressed himself.
You and I know that in communication, there is what we call framing. Yeah. Framing is very, very important. Again, I can say you are stupid without using the word you are stupid. You understand? So it is how you presentation. Also, is much more important also is the context. You need to also understand the context. The context will help you to
To
get
do
your
that
messaging
information.
than do your message framing. You understand? If you properly put your framing together, you understand, everybody, they will feel happy that you are even, passing them this information. You understand? So, and again, you said something much earlier that two products must have a little bit of a difference. You understand? It's a good thing. So if my own has a little sugar, that is what the product is. You understand? So we need to get these things right. Don't demarket anybody in the process. What even stop them from even writing them straight? What's stopping you
From writing
writing the producer directly?